Or die. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly. Know that they fly. Know that they ride or die. CJ Ike, they ain't no longer about. They ain't no longer about. They ain't no longer about. CJ Ike, they ain't no longer about.
Hello, cousin. Thumbs up because you are amazing. Welcome to Unusual Attitude. I am Uncle Mike, your favorite YouTuber's favorite uncle. And this is where we fly Microsoft Flight Simulator on the Xbox Series X. We do a little flight. We get up to cruise altitude. We get up to cruise. And then we cruise. And we chat about whatever we want to talk about. And tonight's topic is still Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, but down at the FlightSimExpo 2023 there was a presentation about what we can kind of expect here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and it was amazing. So that's what we are going to be talking about here today, is some of the stuff that we have learned that has been out there on YouTube. So if you're interested, go check out Flight Sim Expo 2023 and the Microsoft Flight Simulator presentation. And so that's what we're going to talk about. But tonight we are going to be doing just a short little flight from Martha's Vineyard over to Block Island in the Bristell B-23. And so just go ahead and do some notams here. And first, as you know the drill. Come on now, you know the drill. Click that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Click that like button if you do, subscribe if you haven't, comment, share. Come join me in chat in a future live stream or this one. And with that, let's go ahead and game on. So here we are in Martha's Vineyard. And so looking beautiful today. The weather looks beautiful for our flight here. We're actually going to go up to Falmouth, Massachusetts first, up to the north. And so that's what we're going to be doing, our climb up and kind of climb out up to there. And then we're going to go ahead and turn over. So, Mr. Buddy, thumbs up because you are amazing. Welcome, Mr. Buddy, to Unusual Attitude. And so with that, let's go ahead and get down here into the Bristell. This is the Bristell right here. I like this airplane because it reminds me of another pilot tuber. And with his in real life channel and flying over in the UK, which is called Shortfield, and he flies a sport cruiser very similar to this, but this is what we're looking at right here. We've got November 36 uniform Mike here, the Bristell B-23, and so we are ready to go. As you can see, runway 24 here in Martha's Vineyard. We got some light winds, beautiful weather. We are just raring to go here. So let's go ahead and get in the air. Let's get our flight going on here. If you come over here to the multi-function display over here, if I zoom out here, touch screen, that is amazing. You can see our short little flight. We're going to fly north up to Falmouth, make a left turn, go down to MINNK intersection, and then go ahead and do our descent into Block Island. And we're not going to shoot any type of instrument approach or anything. That's going to be all visual once we get down there to Block Island. We got beautiful weather, and so it should be great. So let's go ahead and kind of zoom in so we kind of see where we're at when we want to see where we're at on our flight. And so yeah, with that, everything is looking good. I say we get going. So brakes coming off, a little bit of power's coming in. And here we go. So looking good in the neighborhood. You know what? I think this is a pretty quiet airplane. I'm gonna go ahead, once we get line up and wait here, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the legato sound here. We get a little bit more sound here. I like to have about something about maybe about negative. Go about right there, huh? There we go. All right, let's go ahead and get in the air. So let's go. Let's rock and roll. Here we go. Airspeed is alive. Everything is looking good in the neighborhood. And rotate here with our little sport cruiser. Boom. Trim, 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 as Blanco Lirio would say. Trim, trim, trim. There we go. All right, come back on the power just a little bit for climb out. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Almost got taken out by birds. What the f? Well, there's Martha's Vineyard. Man, we also have bird strike. All right, we're gonna climb out here. Everything is looking good. Kind of gave me a little shiver there. All right, everything is looking good. Trim, trim, trim for the climb out. All right, 500 feet. Let's go ahead and start our turn here to the north. So basically, we're looking now pretty much right at Block Island now. But that was, whew, that was a little cray-cray. Everything's looking good. Got a nice tree. Look at this beautiful cockpit. This is a beautiful little airplane right here. I guess I could go ahead and retract the flaps, huh? There we go. We'll kind of do a right downwind departure here. Watch out for those birds. Alright, continue our climb out here. Everything is looking good in the neighborhood. I'm going to go ahead and bring the heading bug around here. Probably just go ahead and put us right onto GPS mode in auto. But here we go. Let's go ahead and start our little turn to the north here. Get on. Kind of head that way. It's just right across here, the ocean, the bay. There's mainland of Massachusetts, as we are now climbing up through 1,700 feet, going to 2,000 feet. That's what we're doing here tonight, going to 2,000 feet. All right, come back on the power here. Go ahead and start setting up for. And let's go ahead and go ahead and put auto on. Auto now is going to do the intercept for us. Let's go ahead and take a look. There is Martha's Vineyard out there, is where we took off. Everything is looking good in the neighborhood. The auto's got us now, just about to do an intercept here on our flight path. We're going to be making a turn here to the left in just a moment. Here it comes. Turn to the left. Looking good in the neighborhood. Go ahead and check out our instruments here. I'm going to go ahead and send it on down here. Get to 2,000 feet. Go ahead and have auto come on down. Got ahead. He is on GPS mode, so he is now following our filed flight path. Because now we are leaving Martha's Vineyard here. Bunch of probably ferry docks and all that down there. I might have the opportunity to be going to Martha's Vineyard here this year, so we'll have to revisit Martha's Vineyard if in real life happens. Alright, let's just take a look, see how everything is shaping up here as a zip. There we go, 2,000 feet. Everything is looking good in the neighborhood as we are heading up here to Falmouth, Massachusetts. And then we're going to be making a right turn and heading back out that way to head toward Block Island here in the Bristell B-23 in Unusual Attitude Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 on the Xbox Series X. I am flying with a controller and keyboard. This is what I fly with. And so we are just, everything is looking good here in the neighborhood. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and get set up here for our time to chat. I'm just looking at putting on the noise canceling headphones. Let's go ahead and check how everything is looking good in terms of sound. Everything is looking good. I like it. All right, so just a little bit here. Right off the nose is a Falmouth Municipal. And then we're going to be making a left turn here once we head out that way. I've got some views set up, so there's your viewer off your side of the airplane. We've also got kind of high, a little bit kind of closer there for landing and stuff like that. We know we've got our instrument view, so everything is looking good in the neighborhood. You know the drill. Come on now. So as soon as we get up here, we're gonna be chatting about this Microsoft Flight Simulator presentation at the FlightSimExpo 2023 down in Houston, Texas, which is going on this weekend. And so I am going to be talking about that as we are heading down to Block Island. Shouldn't take us too terribly long to get down to Block Island, or actually down to the MINNK, which is Mike Indigo November Kilo. So MINNK intersection, and that is where then we'll make a southern turn, another left turn, another southern turn for our approach and everything down into Block Island. And that's where we'll do a standard overhead brake teardrop into probably a left 45 for runway 28 at Block Island. I think that's what it is. It's basically the west runway. So all right, here we go. We are now coming up over the mainland. There is Falmouth right there. Everything is looking good. Let's take a look out your side of the airplane here. Everything is looking good. Gonna go ahead and keep the landing lights on. Make sure we don't smash into anything so everybody can see us. There is the airport. Looks like right off the nose there. A little bit of turbulence. Like I said, we got a light wind out of the west, and so we're gonna have just a little bit of turbulence here. Nothing bad by any means, but we'll still have a little bit of turbulence with the new turbulence model here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. It's all based on what type of wind and weather and stuff that you put into your weather right here. And so as you can see, we've got really fair winds and fair weather, so we have just light turbulence here. So it should be fairly rare and all that. But yeah, we are coming right over Falmouth Airport here. And so in just a moment here, Otto, our German co-pilot, he is going to make a left turn for us as we head west toward Block Island. So there is Falmouth. Very nice. Got the nice golf course over there. Very cool. Here comes our turn. You go, Otto. Yippers, here we go. Very nice. And we're just gonna basically go right down the what's that? An isthmus? I don't know, peninsula. That's where we're gonna be flying. So we'll have something to kind of take a look while we're chatting here about Microsoft Flight Simulator presentation, FlightSimExpo 2023 here. So, all right, there we go. Everything is looking good. I want to make sure that everything is good before we start to, have our chat. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. So, we got 23 minutes until we get to MINNK. So about 20-minute chat here, and everything is looking good on the instruments. I like what we see. We can go ahead and go into perhaps this view right here. This is a nice view as we just fly on down to the MINNK intersection here. And with that, let's go ahead and let's start chatting here about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 presentation at the FlightSimExpo 2023. And so if you haven't taken a look at that, I would recommend that you do that. I'll probably put a link to the video that I watched, which is I think the Microsoft Flight Simulator video. And so you can go down there and you can watch that video. I'll put that down in the description once we're done with the live stream here. And so there was a lot of things that they talked about. Some of the things that was already brought up, even in my episode 2 here of Unusual Attitude, which was the whole career mode. And because one of the things that they talked about in their presentation was that they talked about kind of giving them more to do. Because yes, Microsoft Flight Sim is a simulator, and so they don't want to gamify it too much. We've already got landing challenges and those that where you are scored and all that. So there is some game aspects. And one of the things that they did mention, well, they said that there was basically 30%, so like 1/3 of their core users, flyers, aviators, are really hardcore simmers, right? They're pilots. They come on here. They're like hardcore flight sim. And then there's another third, which are more, kind of just have fun, if you want to call them gamers and so on. And then there's basically the other third that is just truly casual, just, kind of do it. So they kind of want to have this career mode where you can pick what they're actually calling lifestyle. And that's what they showed at the FlightSimExpo was it's not really called career mode. It's this whole lifestyle. What is your aviation lifestyle? And of course there's some that look very intriguing to me, like the firebombing one looks amazing. The crop duster looks amazing. And there's some other ones that are pretty fun, which are the cargo, the transport, search and rescue. Again, helicopters don't do too much for me, but there's, the VIP service. And of course, as they said, they didn't show it in really anything that they have released so far. But one of the things that they clearly pointed out was, there's going to be, one of your lifestyles can be basically airline pilot, right? Airliners. So that's going to happen. Because clearly that's probably, I would say, one of the largest chunk of the core simmers that are out there is, at least live streamers that I have seen, has really been the airline pilots. Me personally, I like general aviation. I like the steam gauges over all of now, the glass cockpits and all that kind of stuff. But I still enjoy flying it. But I still enjoy general aviation more than the airliners. And so they did talk about the lifestyle stuff, and that was already released during the Xbox showcase. But then what else did they talk about here? Well, one of the things that they talked about was that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is not an add-on. It's not a update. It's not just a more stuff, more content in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. It is a whole nother engine. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is different than Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And one of the things that they showed in the presentation was that they showed how there's so many more modeling points on the surfaces, so on the aircraft, than what is in Microsoft 2020. And some of the architecture that they've done, and the reason why they've changed it, is now that you'll basically, to help out with the loading, and as you've seen in Unusual Attitude Episode 1, that the game crashed, was that there is also this new architecture within the software, within the program, where you really only download, you only really save and stuff the things that you need. So if you're gonna, like me, I pretty much only fly in the United States because I want to kind of keep it relevant and realistic and stuff to myself, of where I could actually go in the world and where I will go in the world, I guess. And so if you're not interested in all the Africa airports, or if you're not interested in all the Papua New Guinea airports, or if you're not interested in all the Latin America airports, then you don't load those things. And so that, therefore, your system isn't as bogged down as it needs to be. And also, you're not putting so much on your hard drive, or in our case, on the hard drive here on the Xbox Series X. But one of the other things that they talked about, because of this new architecture in the software, one of the things that they showed, and this right here, this was amazing, was they showed now the physics of some of the new lifestyles, the new aircraft that are going to be in Flight Sim, most notably the hot air balloons. The hot air balloon that they showed was amazing, and it was really actually just a test footage showing how the balloon was actually laying on the ground as just kind of, the cloth, and then how the physics, because of all these new modeling points that they have now put on the surface of the model within the flight sim, they showed then how the balloon would realistically then inflate and also deflate, and that was amazing. It was amazing to see how realistic that it looks like Flight Sim is really going to get in the modeling of the aircraft. So maybe helicopters will get this, will get a a new model or something like that, which will then make them more enticing to me. But the aircraft, the balloons, probably the gliders, probably are going to have then just fantastic new modeling and physics architecture within Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I'm so excited for that. One of the other things that they then talked about was some of the things that we can expect. Well, one of the things that we can expect, which they have released literally while they were giving the presentation on Friday, while they were giving the presentation, the marketplace was updated and they gave us the Ford Tri-Motor. Right now, it's free for, I think, a week is what they said. So if you're interested in some of that vintage aircraft, especially free from Microsoft and Asobo, which then have amazing models because they're the creators of Microsoft Flight Simulator, then go get the Ford Tri-Motor. I've already gotten it. I've already flown it a little bit. it's a lot of fun if you like those kind of vintage, really got to kind of fly it, trim it up kind of airplanes. It necessarily doesn't work too much for me, but I'll make some YouTube shorts and landing videos and all that, flight videos, and that I do also here on my YouTube channel with it. But for unusual attitude and something like what we do here with the podcast format, it's a little bit more difficult since it doesn't have autopilot, so I can get everything set up and then chat with you while we are cruising like we're doing here, going into down here to MINNK intersection before we make a left turn and head out to Block Island, and go ahead and just do the visual approach down there. What else did they talk about? Well, another thing that they talked about also was a new city update that's coming out for the state of Texas. Hook 'em horns! Which is going to be a lot of fun because, well, I grew up in Texas, so that's going to be fun. I flew in Texas back in the early 90s when I was actually flying, so that would be fun. Some of the towns are kind of weird. I have to do some research as to why they pick some of these, towns. Obviously, the bigger towns make sense, like San Antonio and Austin and all this, but then they had some towns that, heck, I didn't even know that they were towns in Houston, or that they were towns in Texas. And then another thing that they did do, and I actually cannot remember the name of the aircraft now, but it's a Clipper, and it's a 4-engine Clipper here. I can, while we're cruising here, I can go ahead and bring this up and just see if I can find out what airplane that was that they released, or that they mentioned that was coming soon. Like the Strato Clipper or something like that. It was a 4-engine. So I am looking it up over here, but I am not having much luck here trying to find it. But I know it's in the video. I don't know if it was it a Strato Clipper? It doesn't look like, because it's not coming up. So it wasn't the 314 Clipper. It wasn't that. It was. It wasn't a. What do you want to call it? Seaplane. It wasn't the Boeing 314 Clipper. It was something else, and it was beautiful looking, and it was what is that? What do they call it? I can't remember what they even call these things now. The Legends, right? The Legend. That will be. I think it was Local Legend 10, maybe. I just can't seem to find a picture of it. Like I said, and I didn't put it to memory as to what it was, but it looked amazing. So I'll have to do some look that back up and so on. But so here at the FlightSimExpo 2023, they've really shown that there's going to be some pretty interesting improvements, some amazing new stuff that they are going to provide to us, aviators here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And so I'm looking forward to it, because it's going to be again. I can't say anything else, but it's going to be amazing. It is just going to be amazing. because right now, I mean, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is amazing here on the Xbox Series X. I mean, it's pretty much everything that really, you know, that I want. I like making the content that I am making currently, which are, you know, a lot of just YouTube shorts and of landings, takes off, flights, just some kind of fun stuff here. And then it gives me this opportunity here to have a podcast where I can actually fly. And again, the reason why we're doing unusual attitudes is because it seems like you know, the takeoff and landing on pilot tubers on YouTube is something that is, well, they just kind of cut out what they do while they're up at cruise, because, well, they're up at cruise and they're probably eating, drinking, talking, whatever they're doing. Yeah, they're monitoring the radio and all that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong about that, but there's an opportunity to chat too. So we can do some flights here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Take a flight, have a good time, talk about some stuff. We should be probably coming up here on MINNK, I would imagine so. So we can go ahead and let's jump into the aircraft. Let's take a look here. And so, yeah, we got a little bit of time here before we get to MINNK straight ahead. So everything is looking good here in the neighborhood as we are continue to climb out or cruise over to MINNK and to Block Island. And so, yeah, it's just absolutely really amazing, you know, what they've done here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And they continue to, like I said, they continue to show and to improve and listen to the community, and, you know, and so on. So there's really not, like I said, much that I can think of that I would really want on top of what they're doing with the lifestyle stuff. That's the big event. That's the big change. I mean, it's great to have a, you know, a new engine, a new architecture, so you can have, you know, better and realistic physics, and maybe even better weather and all that. So that right there is also amazing. But to have something to, you know, to kind of strive for, not you know, not to be scored by any means. So, you know, doing the crop dusting, you know, it's not necessarily, again, to be like get a grade or a score, but to have the satisfaction of completion. Maybe that's what it is, right? Obviously there's a satisfaction in the sim that when you take off, you make your trip, you make a successful landing. Like we say in aviation, any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. And so the completion of the trip safely, that right there is satisfaction. And, you know, probably at some point here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, we'll do a unusual attitude flight where the weather is IFR, whether it is bad weather, or where, you know, it's all IMC. And especially if there's, like, maybe if we're flying over water, there's not really much to see even right now. So doing an IFR flight right now wouldn't really matter of the scenery, kind of just like now. And so, yeah, we could probably then think about doing that. But to have that satisfaction of a completion, that's what I'm looking forward to, this lifestyle, this career that is going to, looks like, be available to us in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, would give that, again, satisfaction of not just the flight, but the work, right? The event, the job that you're supposed to do, right? Because, you know, I can see very easily, and I can think of it in my mind, you know, of how some, you know, being in the cockpit and flying as, you know, a job, you know, could take some of the passion out of flying itself, because it's repetitive, especially if you're flying, similar routes all the time. If your routes change all the time, that's one thing I like about what we're doing here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 for Unusual Attitude, is that, we can pick different planes, we can pick different routes, we can pick whatever we want to fly. And so it keeps it kind of fun and fresh and new and challenging all the time. But I can see that, in real life, if that is something that you do and it's repetitive, then the passion kind of comes out and becomes repetitive. And so it kind of just becomes, how do I want to say, it's just what you do, right? And so even in the flight sim, it's the same thing, right? In that just kind of becomes what you do. But now to have these lifestyles, have these careers that you can do in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is going to be amazing, because it tacks on a layer. You've got the skill and the actual equipment, so the aircraft and all that, but now you tack on top of that the use of the equipment and the aircraft. You got the satisfaction of this job well done, right? This lifestyle, this work that is now here, and that's going to elevate the sim really to another level, because you have that satisfaction of that job well done. And I think perhaps that might be what's even missing. It's actually kind of interesting to start to see work layered on top of Microsoft Flight Simulator, within Microsoft Flight Simulator, to give that satisfaction, that responsibility, that attempt to do a job well done. And as you know, I'm looking forward to doing some firebombing, some crop dusting. That's going to be... I'm looking forward to see, as they start to release, what that really entails. We've just seen it. And again, it looks amazing. But what does that entail? What are the lifestyles? What do you do in the lifestyle? I mean, is there, are you paid? Are you graded? Are you scored at some level? Is there some, again, reward, or, for a job well done? This is going to be really interesting to watch this be developed. And of course, probably won't be seeing this on Unusual Attitude or here on my live streams, I would guess, until probably the end of 2024, or maybe even 2025, just because I would think it would come out on PC first, and then it would be released onto the Xbox and the consoles after that. So we would just have to wait and see what what happens, because that's what happened. 2020 it was released. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 was released on the PC, and then in 2021, almost a year later, then we got it on the console. So there's probably going to be a delay while we wait for it to be released onto the consoles. But again, if you're interested in the Microsoft Flight Simulator Expo, or the Flight Sim Expo 2023 and the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 presentation, then once I'm done with our flight here and I update it with chapters, and I update it with some other links and stuff, down in the description below you'll be able to find the link to the YouTube video of the Microsoft Flight Simulator presentation at FlightSimExpo 2023, where they talked about some of the stuff, and then you can also see what I am talking about, because it looked amazing. And again, I don't even know what type of backward what do you want to call it, backward what do they call it, not capacity, but basically if all the airplanes and stuff like that you bought in 2020 would also work in 2024. So because it's going to be brand new architecture, so will they have the same planes? Will they get different planes? It's going to be interesting to see. But it's fascinating that they're doing it. It's fascinating to see the actual humans from Microsoft and also from Asobo that are working on this, because again, it looks amazing. And I think it's just really going to be something that's going to be extraordinary in the flight sim world. So, well, here is Otto, our German co-pilot, making that left turn to the south to head out toward Block Island, and there is Block Island right out in front of us. And so with that, let's go ahead and jump back into the aircraft, and let's get in here and let's just make sure everything is looking good in the neighborhood, and it sure is. So we are at 2,000 feet. Once we get closer to Block Island here, one of the things that we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and descend down to 1,500 feet. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a standard overhead midfield pass over Block Island Airport. Then we're going to go out and we're going to do then a teardrop turn and then enter left 45 for runway, I believe it's runway 28, the west runway. And then we're going to make a teardrop, enter the left 45 for the left downwind for runway 28. And then we'll see what that, we might go ahead and play the option for maybe a touch and go or a go around or something like that for left traffic. So we shall see here. But beautiful day as now that we are heading out toward Block Island. This is your view right here in the Bristell Bravo 23, the B23, the Bristell 23. Here's what it looks like. Nice little light sport cruiser. And there we are. I like this aircraft because, again, it is very similar to the sport cruiser that is flown by the owner, the YouTuber Shortfield over in the UK, where he takes his sport cruiser usually onto short grass fields around the United Kingdom. And it's just a great YouTube video or YouTube channel, really talking about some things. And so I've made some YouTube shorts. Use this kind of inspired by some of his video. So yeah, looking good as we're approaching Block Island. So let's go ahead and tell Otto here. So let's go ahead, I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and tell Otto to come down to 1,500 feet. So come on down to 1,500 feet if you would, please, Otto. So Otto will bring us down to 1,500 feet. So that way when we cross midfield at 1,500 feet, we will then go out. We'll do the teardrop, descend down to traffic pattern altitude. In the teardrop, into the left 45, go on the left downwind for runway 28, where we'll think about doing the option, which will be either a touch and go around, high speed flyby. I don't know. We'll figure that out once we get there. So, but there is Block Island right off the nose. You can see, I mean, this Bristell, this B23 Bristell here, I mean, it's all full glass cockpit. It is tricked out. So if you want a full glass cockpit light general aviation aircraft, this is it. I mean, the interior is tricked out too. Just beautiful. Alright, descending on down 1,500 feet. Everything is looking good in the neighborhood. And so we'll let Otto bring us close to the airport. Then we'll go autopilot off, and then we'll go onto the sticks here. And we will go ahead and do our teardrop, our overhead pass to the teardrop to enter left 45 from runway 28. So we're going to be landing from the left to the right is how we're going to be landing. And so it will all become clear in just a few minutes. So if we take a look here, we've got about just over 3 minutes before we will pass overhead Block Island. So So I remember back in, I don't know, Microsoft Flight Simulator 98, Microsoft Flight, I don't know, but Block Island was one of these airports and that I just really liked, to fly at. Obviously we had Megs, in Flight Sim, and of course that's now, gone, but it's back now, so that right there is in itself. So it's just kind of nostalgic to come back out here to Block Island because it was an airport that I landed at so often in the older versions of Microsoft Flight Simulator. But here we are, Block Island. Let's go ahead and take a look out your view. There we go, Block Island. Out here in the middle of the Atlantic off the southern coast of Massachusetts. And I guess Rhode Island too. I think Block Island might be Rhode Island. Martha's Vineyard, I think, is Massachusetts. So I think this is Rhode Island, actually, territory now. But here we are. It makes you wonder that since there is stuff out here, where do they get their, like, fresh water, Is it piped over somehow, or is there, well, I mean, you wouldn't think there would be fresh water on this such a low island. That's a interesting question. Looked like I saw something out here in the water. I'm gonna put the wind turbines. Very cool. All right, right off the nose there is Block Island. And so I am going to go ahead and set the heading bug here into heading mode. Let's go ahead and turn here. And so one thing we can do is we can go ahead and go on to VOR. This is just a little simmer trick. And I'm going to set here to see that. Go ahead and set it to runway 28. So there we are. Here is Block Island. We're gonna just, like I said, we're gonna pass overhead. Oh, check out the boats in the harbor. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of just go ahead and just fly straight ahead here. Then we're gonna pass directly overhead. So there's the VOR for there's the airport at Block Island. All right, so pass overhead. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fly out here. Then we're gonna do a right turn and loop back around and then enter a 45 for runway 28. Might be runway 26. I'm not really sure. I should have looked down and made a view of the runway, but we can see the runway there. All right. Autopilot is coming off my airplane. Come off the power too a little. Just nice descent here. Of course, 1,000 feet is going to be pattern altitude. We're basically right at sea level. We're just going to go ahead and do this right turn here to enter a 45-degree angle with that runway. Go ahead and zoom in here a little. There we go. So just a nice teardrop turn. Coming on in into 45. All right. And at 1,000 feet here. Come off the power. And let's go ahead and enter the left downwind. Go ahead, trim. go. Trim, trim, trim. All right. Gonna put in 1 notch of flaps, help slow us down. Looking good in the neighborhood. All right, power's coming in, flaps coming up. Keep that nose down as the power. We don't want to go up and stall. There we go. Shoo, yeah. Welcome to Black Island, huh? All right, climb up here. Enter left traffic. And let's go ahead and let's put her down this time. All right, 1 notch of flaps. Looking good in the neighborhood. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, power's coming off. Trim, trim, trim. Flaps coming in. Oh yeah, here we go. Looking good, looking good. Nice stable approach. Nice stable approach. There we go. Come on. Whoop, a little bit of a bounce. Not bad. There we go. Nice rollout. Welcome to Black Island, everybody. Taxi off the runway here. Go get those flaps up. Looks like I see where they want us to go. Whoa, whoa, what's this person doing? Ooh, check out the bird dog. Oh yeah, here we'll go ahead and just guy's possessed. Where are you? There we go. Heck yeah. All right, everything is looking good in the neighborhood now. And there we are in Black Island. Check out that bird dog over there. That's so awesome. What the heck is this person doing here? Who knows? But there we go. We are here in Block Island. Thank you for joining me here on this short flight here in unusual attitude where we flew from Martha's Vineyard over to Block Island, where we talked about the new Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 presentation at FlightSimExpo 2023 down in Houston. And as usual, click that like button if you do, subscribe if you haven't, comment, share. Come join me in chat in a future live stream, because I'm your favorite YouTuber's favorite uncle. I am Uncle Mike. See you next time, everybody. Bye. Well, that was a good flight. Heck yeah, it was a good flight. Had no problems. Nice landing. Nice go around. Everything was good. Everything was good in the neighborhood. So, see you next time, everybody. Bye.